storm, it is Anfield Agenda time. Craig is set for the day and the news. Sit back and relax, grab a coffee and chill, and enjoy the shenanigans tonight. Anfield Agenda. Anfield Agenda. YNWA. Anfield Agenda. Time for Craig to tell it straight. Watch alongs to fill your day. Make to subscribe and stay. Up the Reds. Up the Reds. Oh, oh, ooh. Oh, oh, ooh. Oh, oh, ooh. Oh. Anfield Agenda. Anfield Agenda. YNWA. Anfield Agenda. Time for Craig to tell it straight. Watch alongs to fill your day. Make to subscribe and stay. Up the Reds! Up the Reds! Oh, oh, ooh. Oh, oh, ooh. Oh, oh, ooh. Oh, 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 Anfield Agenda. Anfield Agenda. YNWA. Anfield Agenda.
What is up, my friends? How are we? It is Friday night. The weekend has officially started, and I hope that you are all in good spirits. We have quite a bit to get through tonight. Obviously, we'll be looking ahead to the game against Arsenal coming up at the weekend. I've got a bit of an announcement to make as well a little bit later on in the show. And yeah, a couple of thank yous to kick us off. I've seen a couple of new members in. John Jones. Wonder if it's the John Jones. Couldn't quite be the UFC John Jones, maybe. But either way, you never know. John, thank you, mate, for becoming a member with Ashwack as well. Thank you, bro. And Mark, I've noticed that you've gifted a membership, mate. Very kind of you, as always, sir. So yeah, look. It's a huge weekend. There's no way of denying that. We've got the press conferences to get through today. We've seen both managers kind of playing their cards a little bit close to their chest around the availability of certain players. And we'll talk through it tonight and see what we think is going to happen. I want to just say a really quick thank you to everybody who left such lovely comments on the video with Lee Gunner earlier on. We recorded it yesterday. I told you I enjoyed it, and I'm glad to see that you guys seem to have enjoyed it as well. Loads of lovely comments left on the video, which did not go unnoticed. So thank you to everyone that came across. And yeah, lots to do. Lots to do. So, how are we? South Africa's in the house. Fisherman, how are we? I'd also seen somebody from New York in earlier on in the chat there. Let me scroll back up to find this gentleman's comment. What have we got? I'm from New York, at the desk, listening to my favourite informative podcast, trying to do one for us fans in New York, said Satish Edwards. Do it. Do it, mate. Launch it, give it a bash, and share your love of the Reds. There's plenty of space for us all in this industry, despite the best efforts of some to keep others out of it. I'm welcoming of everybody, mate, so you do it. And enjoy it. That's the most important thing. If you have fun with it, that's it. That's all you need to do. Meta official said Lee Gunner is top. Well, I'm going to give you a bit of an announcement in a while. I'm going to let the chat fill up a little bit before I get stuck into it. But yeah, we had great fun in the chat, and it was lovely to catch up with Lee. And he was very reasonable and laid back and calm, which, you know, Lee's like me. You don't always get that with him. Sometimes he can be a bit of a hothead, much like yours truly. So yeah, it was a lovely chat, and it was great to catch up with my mate. Right. Tonight, my friends, we're going to be talking about lots of different bits and pieces. The delusion levels from Ten Hag have reached another level. Paul Joyce has announced that somebody really important to Liverpool's recruitment is moving on. We're going to be talking about the Adidas deal as well and what that will mean money-wise for the football club. We're going to be talking about interest in Mamardashvili. We've already signed Mamardashvili from Omar Marmoush, but not just from us. Apparently from him to us as well. So we're going to talk about that tonight. But firstly, I want to just address something really quickly. You may have seen it in my video earlier on that I put out today, but when I read this last night, my heart sunk a little bit because I never ever like to read headlines like this. It said Manchester United fans were attacked by a group of Fenerbahce ultras on Wednesday night ahead of the Europa League clash in Istanbul. I hope, and I don't know too much about this story, but I hope that all of those Manchester United fans are safe back home with their families. And you never want to see anything like this in football. Look, I'm all for a bit of tribalism in football. I'm all for a bit of banter and back and forth. And I'm all for everybody getting behind their teams. But the days of fan violence have to be put behind us. So, again, another set of football fans who go away to a football trip and unfortunately are beset upon by some ultras, and we don't need to see it in the sport. So I sincerely hope that those United fans got home safe and well after what was an entertaining 1-1 draw over there in Fenerbahce. So yeah, just wanted to share my thoughts on that one because it's a headline I never like to read. You know, football fans should never be in danger going to a game. Right, so let's get stuck into a conversation around Trent to kick us off tonight, if that's all right, people. So it has been confirmed, I guess, by James Pearce, Arne Slot and a few others as well to say that Trent Alexander-Arnold has been playing through some discomfort because of a muscle strain. The scans revealed it's a minor issue that can be managed, meaning he's able to play through it. While he is playing with pain, he intends to keep making himself available as it heals, and the injury management helps explain why he was substituted in the last couple of games since his return. See? Again, it was just good squad management from Arne, and I know people want to try and read too much into these things all the time, and we're studying Trent's body language and we're studying Mo's body language when he's been taken off, but with Trent, it was for his own good because we didn't want this injury to obviously get worse. So well done to everybody concerned. Keeping with Trent for a moment, he's kind of let it be known that he'd like to be the first right back to win the Ballon d'Or. Now, that got a lot of Liverpool fans worrying. So firstly, you're like, yeah, go Trent, go win that Ballon d'Or. But then after that, you're thinking, oh, hang on. They win a lot of Ballon d'Ors at Real Madrid. Should we be worried here? And I honestly don't think that we can read anything else into that particular comment other than Trent's a very ambitious young man who wants to get the most out of his career and wants to continue to win trophies. So I wouldn't be stressing about it just yet. But again, well done, Trent. I love anybody with optimism like that, or anybody that wants to continue to achieve, continue to push on and do well. Getting in my push-ups while listening to the Best Liverpool Fan channel. I wish I could say me too, but yeah, I think we all know that I'm not a gym rat. Definitely not. But well done, my man. Keep going. Keep going. And if you want me to shout at you or anything to say one more, just let me know and I'll try to help you as best as I can. Right, Stevie boy, first super chat of the night. Thank you so much, bro. You're always an absolute gent with the super chats and your comments. Said, thanks, Craig, for the content. Keep up the great work that you do. Much love from down under. Oh, Gunnar is a legend. Well, on that, because you're all with me nice and early, I'm going to share a little bit of news with you. So, I was reading the comments on the video, and as I said, they were all very, very, very supportive of both Lee and myself, which, again, thank you for that. But I got myself and Mr. Gunnar thinking. So, I think Lee has already mentioned this over in his watch-along that he's currently on, but I'm going to just reiterate it right now. Myself and Lee Gunnar are going to launch a brand new podcast together. It's going to be called The Red Mist Podcast. And I think that name suits us both rather well. We're going to be talking about all things football. We're going to be talking about the industry that we're involved in. We're going to be sharing some of our pet peeves, our anger, our annoyances. But most importantly, we're going to be keeping it real. We're going to be keeping it as honest as we can and giving you our thoughts on the league, on Liverpool, on Arsenal, and everything in between. We're going to work on the back end to get the system up and ready for as soon as possible, but I think this one's going to be great. So myself and Lee Gunnar, twice a week, the Red Mist Podcast. It's going to be coming out over the next couple of weeks anyway. It's going to be on both video on here and it's going to be on audio on the podcast platform. So yeah, we hope you enjoy it. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, proud to say proud to say it works. You know, I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, I'm buzzing about it. So we'll see when that launches. We'll give you more information on it. But yes, myself and Mr. Gunner, the Red Mist podcast, and I think that name's spot on. Arsenal red, Liverpool red, and of course we both see red at times as well, don't we? So yeah, that's going to be coming soon. Right, let's get stuck into the news. And again, thank you for your supportive comments in the chat as well. I think it's going to put some of the industry on notice though, because if there's one thing you know about myself and Lee is we're not backwards about coming forwards. We will say what's on our mind, and if that happens to annoy a few people along the way, it won't be our intention, but also tough shit, basically. Right, let's get into a conversation around Omar Marmoush, which really got me excited when I read this earlier on. So there's a couple of pieces to it. Shout out to Anfield Sector, who posted this up earlier on as well. Another very good Liverpool account that I'd certainly recommend you go and follow if you're on social media, of course, as well as Anfield Agenda. And many others, LFC Transfer Room, Anything Liverpool, our Anfield Edition, all of them. You know, we're supportive of everyone who makes Liverpool content. So this piece here said, breaking: Liverpool is a serious option for Omar Marmoush. The interest is real, and there has been contact between the players' camp and Liverpool. Frankfurt would demand about 50 to 60 million euro. This coming in from Florian Plettenberg, I believe. On top of that, there's more. It said Marmoush dreams of a move to the Premier League and would agree to join Liverpool immediately. Yes, please. Yes, please. Look, Marmoush looks like a really good player, and there's no doubt that Liverpool have been keeping tabs on him. I don't know if this would be with a view to maybe if we lost Mo. I haven't been able to speak to David yet, so we will talk about that on Monday when we catch up. But I hope there's something to this, because Omar Marmoush has been sensational this season for Frankfurt. He is absolutely idolised over in Egypt. He is probably, after Mohamed Salah, the second most popular Egyptian athlete, maybe, certainly footballer. So keep an eye on this situation. And I'm going to do what I always do, which of course is go straight to the poll and ask you guys, would you take Omar Marmoush for, let's say, £45 million? Because 50 million to 60 million euro is in and around about 45, 55 million pounds. So, you know, we'll say 50 million just to round it up. Would you take Omar Marmoush? 1 second. For £50 million. So, going to be simple, yes or no. Would you take Omar Marmoush for 50 million quid? Simple yes or no poll. We'll leave that running for a while. Will you guys have your say? Half time, by the way, in the Premier League game today. It's so far Leicester City 1, Nottingham Forest 1. Nottingham Forest took the lead through their captain Ryan Yates, and then it was equalised by Jamie Vardy. So if any of you are playing FPL, keep that in mind. Right, so we'll leave that poll running, but yeah, that's exciting news, isn't it? You know, to see that Liverpool have been linked with Marmoush, because he ticks a lot of boxes. And of course, I still believe if Salah stays, it's probably more unlikely unless we were to move Darwin on. And again, we all want Darwin to succeed, but yeah, this is a link that I think many of us are going to be happy about. His teammate, Ekitike, is terrific as well. The thing about him is he messed up his career by going to PSG. Wasn't he the guy who Newcastle were looking at and ended up going to PSG? And as has been the case with a lot of players, that move to PSG hasn't really kicked them on. So if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, Ekitike was somebody who Newcastle looked strongly at, but ended up choosing a move to Paris instead. George Edwards said, yes, I would. He's class and could be world class. Hopefully we sign him next summer, but I just don't know what position he'd go, but still would take him. I would imagine central would probably be my thought process on Marmoush, but as I said, there's a lot still to work to. I think we've got a couple of birthdays to talk about today as well. I certainly know for a fact that Federico Chiesa turns 27 today. So, Fede, happy birthday. And I think it's Dominic Soboslai's birthday as well, if I'm not mistaken. So, happy birthday to a couple of Liverpool players there. Somebody just confirmed for me on the Dominic Soboslai, and I think it's his birthday today, but I know for certain that it is Federico Chiesa's birthday. So happy birthday to both those gents. Eleazar, excuse me, said, watching from Canada. How are we? Or is it Eliza? Maybe it is. Excuse my pronunciation, my friend. Watching from Canada. Appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Right, it is Dom and Chiesa, said Mark. So there we go. Happy birthday to both those gents. I want to speak about a potential big loss for Liverpool behind the scenes. You may have heard me speaking many times over the last couple of summers about our recruitment team and those working behind it. You always hear me throwing in the names Fallows and Hunter. You always hear me mention both of those. So it is kind of sad to see this today. Liverpool have confirmed that Dave Fallows will be leaving the club and is no longer going to be working with the club after, I think, Christmas time. Don't quote me on that. Speaking about his time with the club, Dave Fallows has said, I've been very privileged to work for this incredible football club. The fantastic people here, starting with the supporters, make it so special. To have had the opportunity to work with so many talented players and colleagues, past and present, who are now friends, is something I'm grateful for. The leadership here, the ownership through to Michael Edwards, Richard Hughes, Arne Slot and Billy Hogan and Alex Inglethorpe is world class. I have no doubt they will continue to thrive. They're supported by great people across many departments who I will miss working with and who will continue to stay close to. There are far too many people to mention, but I'm especially grateful to Barry Hunter and all those in the recruitment team who have helped me and have been a joy to work alongside. Leaving in the knowledge that I will be leaving this place in such great shape is something that means a lot to me. So again, an end of an era somewhat, but the plaudits keep coming. So this is a bit of analysis from James Pearce that you can read over on The Athletic as well. James has written, Dave Fallows had considered leaving Liverpool at the end of the Jurgen Klopp era in May. It felt like the right time to take a break after 12 years of service, given the sweeping changes being made to the club's leadership structure. However, he was convinced by FSG CEO of football Michael Edwards and new sporting director Richard Hughes to stay around and help with the transition. Now that's complete, Fallows will hand over the rest of his duties before Christmas after Edwards, who's taken a sabbatical himself when he initially left Liverpool in 2022, reluctantly accepted his desire to step down and enjoy some time off. His contribution to the club as Director of Scouting and Recruitment has been immense. Internally, he's also considered one of the founding fathers of Liverpool's data-led approach to player recruitment, which was revolutionised when he arrived shortly after Brendan Rodgers' appointment in 2012. And finally on this, it said, the recruitment department has already been revamped over the course of this year with the appointment of Richard Hughes as Sporting Director and David Woodfine as Assisting Sporting Director. Hughes has also brought senior scout Craig McKee and Mark Burchell with him from Bournemouth, and as a result, Liverpool believe they are in a strong position to absorb Dave Fallows' departure, with long-serving Chief Scout Barry Hunter staying put. So that is a bit of background, or I guess support staff news there for you, but Dave Fallows was a huge part of Liverpool's success, particularly in the transfer market, and on behalf of all of us Liverpool fans, just want to extend a huge thank you to Dave Fallows for all of his great work at the club, and wishing the man nothing but happiness and joy with whatever it is his next steps in life are going to be. Right, so there we go. Would you take Julian Brandt at Liverpool? No, because he had his chance. That's the way I look at it. Jurgen wanted to sign Julian Brandt and ended up being convinced that Mohamed Salah was a better option by Michael Edwards and the recruitment team, and you know what? They were right. And Jurgen said it took a lot of convincing, but eventually they were so persistent that he decided to listen, and of course the rest is history, because Mohamed Salah has come in and, well, done quite well, I think it's fair to say. Craig, can you pay annually for this? Is the subscription? I don't know what you mean by annually. Do you mean for memberships? Do you know what? I haven't got a clue. And I know I should probably know the answer to that. I'm not sure, mate. I'm not sure what way you can go about channel memberships. I think it's a month-by-month thing. But I'm sure somebody in the chat will be able to give you the answer. Remember, I'm a technical idiot. There's a reason why Connor's the other half of this channel. And it's for very things like that, mate. So, yeah, embarrassed to say I actually don't know the answer. Meta Official said, that Salah fellow turned out alright. He's not bad for a one-season wonder, is he? That one season's been going on about 7 years now, but one season wonder. Jason's Red Army said, yes, it's just month by month. So there you go. But look, I appreciate the sentiment, my friend, nonetheless. Thank you. David Massett said, evening, Craig. Hope you are well, bro. Yeah, I am. I'm a bit mentally tired. I won't lie, David. It's been an exhausting last month or so, but I'm going to take tomorrow off live content. So, yeah, there'll be a couple of videos coming out tomorrow, by the way. I recorded the preview for the Arsenal game earlier on, so that's going to come out tomorrow morning. And then I'll have a news update video coming out for you tomorrow evening as well. But there'll be no live content tomorrow because I'm going to rest up ahead of what's going to be a really busy day, of course, on Sunday. Did you see Bray Wanderers versus UCD last night? You said it was 2-0 to Bray. I didn't know that, mate. It was 1-0 when I had seen last. But yeah, look, I hope Bray can see that through, and then obviously move on to the next one. But good for him to take a 2-goal lead in. And last I'd seen as well, and I don't know if it's changed, Shelburne were 1-0 up tonight in their game against Drogheda, I think it was. So yeah, keep me informed if you know what the final score of that one is. Well, it hasn't ended yet, but when it ends. Craig, let's go. Renew 1 year, renew 5 year. Oh, me? Oh, look. As I said, I'm signed on to the end of the season, and I'll make my announcement about the future in due course. But for now, let's just enjoy the rest of the season, and then we'll see where we end up. So for those coming in a little bit late, just again a reminder and an announcement. Myself and Lee Gunner are going to be launching a brand new show together called the Red Mist Podcast. We're going to be putting it out twice a week. It's going to be on YouTube and it's going to be on the podcast platforms. And again, we look forward to getting stuck into it. It should be launched over the next couple of weeks or so. So appreciate your support on that one. 2-0 now to Shells. Nice. We'll take that. Mark said it's now 2-1 to Nottingham Forest in that one. Chris Wood scored. Nice. That's a great start to the season for Forest, isn't it? And Nuno's up in the stands today as part of a suspension. But yeah, Forest have, well, as we know, only too well, of course, haven't lost to them. But they've had a great start to the campaign. Ella said, no, Craig, Shells are 2-0 up. I feel sick. Just need Rovers to draw on Sunday to win the league. So, come on, Ella. You know, mate, how much crap Shells have been through over the last few years. So, and I'd love to see Duffer as well get that League of Ireland title. So, I get where you're coming from, Ella, as a Bows fan. But, come on. Let Shells have this one. Who does top of the league? So, as I mentioned before, top of the league is Ben's brand. Ben came up with the name and the branding and everything around top of the league. So that's Ben's or Drawdy's. This will be a new project. We may use the same YouTube platform and channel, but the name is going to be the Red Mist Podcast. So, yeah, keep an eye out for that one. Hi, Craig. Not falling for Arsenal having players out for Sunday. Yeah, I mentioned it in the preview, Alex. I'm a little bit sceptical, bro, to say the least. But you know what? Both managers have been somewhat coy about who's going to be available. So for us, there's kind of a bit of mystery shrouding the whole Chiesa situation and Conor Bradley. We also know that Diogo Jota has bruising, and again, there's will he or won't he be available for the weekend. From Arsenal's perspective, we've seen that Saka is out doing a little bit of running. The manager's refusing to rule him out of the game. I think he's even refusing to rule Calafiori out of it, if I'm not mistaken, which seems madness. He looks like he's definitely going to miss it. Saliba out with a suspension. Yuri and Timber's going to be touch and go for the game, and of course Martin Odegaard ruled out as well. Arsenal pundits are saying Saka will play. I expect him to play, but if he isn't fit, then let's wait and see what happens. I don't know if there's any doubt about it, I wouldn't risk him if I was Arsenal. I know it is a big game, but there's still a long season ahead. So I'm expecting Arsenal to come at us 100 miles an hour at the start of this game. The crowd to be right behind them, as you would expect with them being the home side. And if we can shut them up quickly, score an early goal, or put the pressure back in that Arsenal dressing room, I think that's the best we can hope for here to start the game. If Arsenal were to go one ahead, as an example, then I expect them to kind of shut up shop and try to see it out and defend their way by going narrow and having a low block. So it's going to be interesting, and I'm going to say what I've said all week for this one. I just want the referee to be invisible. I don't want to be talking about the referee or VAR or contentious decisions. I just want it to be sorted on the pitch between two very good teams, and may the best team win. Can you live stream for Bray Wanderers UCD? No. It's just not worth it, mate, honestly. And I don't have that much interest in it either. You know, I'll keep an eye on it, but no, not doing watch along for it. No more watch alongs that aren't Liverpool for me. I'm just going to stick to the red stuff, and then obviously the podcast I'm starting with Lee. Right, more news, because there is a lot more to get through today. So, Jamie Carragher I've disagreed with on a lot of stuff recently, but I have to say, as per my video earlier on, I do agree with Jamie on a comment he made recently where he said, when comparing the full-strength Liverpool, Arsenal and Manchester City starting 11s, the title rivals have more quality in a particular area. Liverpool are short of a Martin Odegaard, a Phil Foden or a Kevin De Bruyne-style attacking midfielder, that X-factor in the middle of the park who elevates a side to the next level. Kind of got me thinking a little bit. I get where Jamie's coming from on this one. Obviously, we do have talented players like Dominic Szoboszlai, Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott, but none of them, as of yet, have stepped up to become that talisman, that X-factor that Jamie Carragher's talking about here. So I just wanted to ask you guys, how you feel about that comment? I'm in agreement with him, to be honest with you. I think Mohamed Salah can be a huge difference maker, but I think what Jamie's speaking about here is that creative force, you know, somebody who pulls the strings in behind the attackers. And I can understand where he is coming from, to be fair. So, as much as I've disagreed with him on a lot of stuff, on this one I think he's spot on. Cole Palmer would be a good X-factor if we had him. We're not going to be getting Cole Palmer. There's no way Chelsea are going to sell him. Would you, if you were in their position? You know, Cole Palmer is being protected by Maresca. He's not being used, or even in the Conference League group stage squad that was submitted to UEFA. So he's trying to obviously make sure he can protect Cole Palmer for the bigger challenges this season. And look, he's a great player. There's no denying that. I think we should go full in for Florian Wirtz, and in case we can't get him, Xavi Simons, said Angelo Angel. There's something about Xavi Simons that I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but I just don't want him at Liverpool. Might be that he's still owned by Paris Saint-Germain, of course, but there's just something about him, I don't know. I just think we could do a little bit better than Xavi Simons. Good player, but I don't know if he's going to be consistent enough. Stephen, how are you, mate? Stephen Irons. Thank you, 7 months membership with us, Stephen. If we get Marmoush, does that mean Darwin is, excuse me, I've got the hiccups now, in the bin? It could either mean that, Stephen, or it could mean that the club are maybe expecting Mohamed Salah to not renew. So, I would say it probably does mean one of those two, but which one it might be, I don't know, because really I don't know what the hell is going on with Salah's situation. In fact, outside of Virgil, I don't really feel overly confident to say one way or the other on any of them. Ben said, Buonanotte. He has been linked, Ben. I have seen links to Buonanotte only in the last week, actually, if I'm being honest with you. Obviously, having a good season with Leicester City. So, maybe. Certainly been somebody whose name has come up. So, let's check in on that poll that we put up at the start of the stream where we said, would you take Omar Marmoush for about £50 million? Because in the piece from Florian Plettenberg, the figure of 50 to 60 million euro was mentioned. So I asked, would you take Marmoush for £50 million? So far, with about 660 votes, 87% of you guys are saying yes, you would take Omar Marmoush. Gonna leave that up till we get to 1,000 votes and then we'll see where we are. Johnny said hiccups don't exist. Okay. I'm not getting into a row, mate, again about hiccups, so sure thing. There's a reason Xavi Simons is not wanted by top clubs, said Till Sheen. There's just something, mate, I can't put my finger on. I don't know if I just don't know. There's just something about Xavi Simons that's never really totally won me over. You can see the talent in him, there's no denying that, but I don't know, he just doesn't strike me as a Liverpool player. Maybe you guys think differently on that. Of course, I respect your opinions as well. Tanya. And again, Tanya, thank you so much. 11 months as a member with us as well, which, you know, always appreciate your contributions to the channel as a member, and of course, just from your comments as well, Tanya. Tanya said, I don't think that Salah will stay. I think we know our second poll now, Tanya, and I'm going to put that up once we get to 1,000 votes on the current one. And you know what? I'm with you. You know, I want him to, but I'm just not getting any real positive vibes around the Salah extension. Even when I speak with David Lynch about it, you know, David hasn't gone out on a limb to say yay or nay, but he does say it's the most difficult of the three to get done. So, you know, I understand where he's coming from, and I do agree with him. You know, I hope it gets done. I hope Salah looks around and thinks, well, I could go to PSG as an example, but that's not a step up in my career. He's too good to go to the Saudi Pro League right now. I think he still has another couple of years left in Europe. Madrid are fully stocked up. So you'd have to say, if you're Salah, looking at the records he's still chasing as well, Liverpool feels like the best fit. You know, he's still contributing greatly on the pitch. So if we can get an agreement there, great. But right now, I'm nervous about it as well, Tanya. I can't lie. Maybe going for Barella could sort this missing spark Carragher's talking about. I just think his age will come against him now at this point as well. Age, price tag, and the fact that he looks like he's very settled over in Inter and in Italy. So I think the days of Liverpool and him are behind us. Do you know, but even Zubamendi, I wouldn't say would tick the boxes for what Jamie Carragher's speaking about there. I think he is alluding to a Coutinho-esque style player as an example. Peanut said, Craig, sorry for asking, but you do a recap of what you've talked about so far. Give me about 5 or 10 minutes and I will, mate, no problem. I just want to go through a couple of other bits and pieces first, and then I will happily do it for you. Right, so we still have about 250 votes left before we finish this one up. The question is, would you take Omar Marmoush for £50 million, yes or no? Madrid is just not his style. I think Barca would suit him better. Yes, I can see if Barca got their finances sorted out a little bit, mate, I could absolutely see a case where they look at Salah as a missing piece, you know, for a couple of seasons, a Lewandowski-esque type transfer. But thankfully for us at the moment, it doesn't look like Barca are going to be able to make those numbers anywhere near add up. So, yeah, we'll wait and see. Scott, again, thank you, mate, for being a member with us for 8 months. Scott Engerson, appreciate your support, mate. Said, sign Zubamendi and Maka could be that X factor. Yeah, look, I'm all for pushing Alexis McAllister a little bit further forward, mate, and I've no doubt about his attributes and talents. Yeah, it could be, could absolutely be. I'm just wanting Szoboszlai to become our De Bruyne, to become our Odegaard, because he has all the attributes to do it. The work rate and effort, I don't think any of us can really complain about. You know, it's just the polish, for want of a better phrase, is what we're missing at the minute. But he is doing what the manager's asking of him. And I think with Curtis Jones in good form as well, you know, I hope, like on the left-hand side of our attack, it's going to push the lads on to new levels and greater consistency. Oster said, the question actually as well, our club management buy him for 50 million because we know how they work. I think 50 million is a number that I could see our club getting to. Yeah, I could. You know my take on the owners and their frugality in the transfer market, and that's me being kind. So I get where you're coming from, but I do think 55 million quid's a number that we could make work. Mark, again, thank you, bro, for gifting an Anfield Agenda membership. So we got a couple of messages actually on Facebook and a few other platforms asking about the live show. Just to confirm for everybody in case there's any misunderstanding, it is an all ages event. What we have to do is finish the show and have all the kids and all out before 10 p.m. So we're going to kick the show off probably about 7:30, 7:30, finish up about 9:30, 9:45, make sure we get all the photos and done with the kids, and then we'll end the show. But it is an all ages event, because I know a couple of people are asking us, can they bring their kids along? Absolutely. But I am going to swear. It is me. I can't promise you I'm not going to swear, but there'll be no sexual content or anything like that, nothing vulgar. So yeah, hope to see you guys there. To everyone that's bought their tickets so far, I'm buzzing. You know, we're 3 weeks away now from the show in Liverpool next month. I can't wait. Macca kind of lacks pace for a 10. I mean, does a 10 necessarily need pace? What a 10 needs is to be able to find pockets of space. So if you look back at some of the best number 10s, let's look at David Silva. Wasn't blessed with all that much pace. Coutinho wasn't the fastest in the world. But they just have that uncanny ability to find a pocket of space on the pitch. And number 10s, the good number 10s, they usually look like they're playing the game a second or a half a second ahead of everybody else. So Elliott, look, Harvey Elliott, if he continues his development and achieves his full potential, there's every chance he could become our kind of Phil Foden as well. But obviously this season we haven't had a chance to see much of Harvey because of that fractured foot. Chris Wood scored again. Wow. For Forest. So 3-1 Forest against Leicester. They really have had a very good start to the season. Mark has just let me know the officials, by the way, for Liverpool's League Cup game against Brighton coming up at the Amex on Wednesday. The referee for the game is going to be Darren Bond. Darren Can and Matthew Wilkes are going to be his assistants. And then fourth official Simon Hooper. Thank you for that one, Mark. I did say I would come back to that gentleman's recap, and I will in a second. I just want to read out this super chat. Matt, thank you, bro. Said, I am somewhat of a Fairweather fan. How do you deal with the emotional highs and lows that can come with being a truly loyal supporter? So, I totally understand the Fairweather fan part, because I would be like that about some sports, you know. Football and boxing are the two things that are really, really close to my heart. But NFL, I like, but I would consider myself fair weather in that regard. How do I deal with it? Badly is the honest answer. I know as a 43-year-old man I shouldn't be uttering the sentence that I'm about to say, but if Liverpool don't get a good result, my weekend's out the window. I'm not good to be around for at least 24 hours if Liverpool don't get a good result. And however bad you think I am in a watch along, I'm worse when the camera's not on me. So yeah, it does impact me quite a bit, and it does play a pivotal role in my weekends. I can't lie to you. Like, Liverpool win and I'm walking on air, Liverpool lose, and if it's an important game, it probably impacts me more than it should. Lance said, for me, Craig, that X factor could be found in Alex Baena, young and consistent. So, I've no idea. I've no idea, mate, on that player. Sorry, I wish I could give you a better answer, but no idea. Evening, Craig, I just came in. Did you say Simon Hooper as ref? No, not as ref. Mark said he was fourth official for this one. So, yeah, that's the officials for the League Cup game. So, yeah, fourth official, not referee, and not VAR, thankfully. Actually, is there VAR? I don't think there is VAR in the fourth round or the fifth round of the League Cup. I think it only comes in when there's all Premier League clubs left, and I can't remember if there are or aren't. What else we got? Are you watching United versus West Ham tomorrow? Yeah, I'll probably stick it on, to be honest. I'm not doing any live content tomorrow. I'm going to just chill out on the sofa and watch a lot of football. So yeah, I'm probably going to be watching the United game in all honesty, yeah. Right, so a couple of last votes and then we'll end this Omar Marmoush poll. If you haven't had your say, please do. I like to try to get to 1,000 votes before we end any poll. So we need about 130 more votes, and then we'll move on to the conversation around what we think Mo is going to do. So, I did promise a recap, and that's what I'm going to do right now. So, we started off the stream with some worrying news, because Manchester United fans were attacked by a group of Fenerbahce ultras on Wednesday night ahead of the Europa League clash in Istanbul, which of course took place last night. As I always mention, I hope they're all safe and well. I hope that they're home with their families where they should be. And I don't want to see this in the game anymore. I am incredibly disheartened when I hear of fans from the Premier League or any league travelling away and to be attacked by a group of people around a football team. Shocking. And, I'm a huge advocate for Turkish football. I think Turkish football has some of the most incredible support and noisy stadiums in the world. But this isn't an anti-Turkey thing. This is just an anti-football violence thing. And I hope all of those are home safe and well with their families. Then we had confirmation from James Pearce that Trent Alexander-Arnold has been playing through a little bit of discomfort due to a muscle strain that I think he picked up during the international break. Pearce goes on to say that while he is playing with pain, he intends to keep himself available as it heals. The injury management should be able to help, and of course explains why he's been taken off for the last 10-12 minutes of a couple of games. We then went on to, I haven't gone on to this piece yet, I will in a second. Paul Joyce then gave the news that Dave Fallows, Liverpool's Director of Scouting and Recruitment, has decided to leave his role by the end of the calendar year. So we went on then to speak about the fact that he's played a huge pivotal role in Liverpool's data-led recruitment approach. So again, we wished Dave nothing but the best for whatever is next in his career and of course in his life. Then we spoke about Jamie Carragher, who said, when comparing the full-strength Liverpool, Arsenal and Manchester City teams, the title rivals have more quality in one particular area. He goes on to say, Liverpool are short of a Martin Odegaard, a Phil Foden or a Kevin De Bruyne-style attacking midfielder, that X-factor in the middle of the park who elevates a side to the next level. And I said, although I've disagreed with a lot from Jamie Carragher recently, I agree very much with that statement. And I think we could do with that little bit of an X factor. Now, that X factor may come from Szoboszlai, Jones or Elliott in the future, but right now I do understand where he's coming from. Then we moved on to the title of tonight's stream, and a piece that came in from Florian Plettenberg that said, Liverpool is a serious option for Omar Marmoush. The interest is real and there has been contact between the players' camp and Liverpool. Frankfurt would demand about 50 to 60 million euro. He then went on to say Marmoush dreams of a move to the Premier League and would agree to join Liverpool immediately. And then we asked the question in the poll, would you take Omar Marmoush at Liverpool for £50 million? And so far, with 910 votes cast, 85% said yes, they would take Omar Marmoush, and 15% of you have lost your damn minds. Sorry, I couldn't resist. And then there was my own personal news, which was we were so pleased with the lovely comments in the video we did with Lee Gunner that myself and Lee got to talking, and we decided to do what you guys have asked, which is make a regular show, which is going to be coming out twice a week. It'll probably start in November, to be honest with you, but it's going to be called the Red Mist Podcast. Myself and Lee Gunner are going to be recording together twice a week. The videos are going to be up here on YouTube. The audio is going to be up on the podcast platforms, and I'm really excited about it because, you know, myself and Lee Gunner are probably two of the most outspoken football fans, whether you agree or disagree with us. And he's been a good friend to me over the years, like I've said to you guys many times. So, yeah, myself and Lee, the Red Mist Podcast, it's going to be coming your way in November. And then we wished happy birthday to Federico Chiesa and Dominic Szoboszlai, who both celebrate their birthdays today. Right, so let's end this poll because we're trickling towards 1,000. We're up to 939 votes now, so I think we can pretty much end it there. So 86% of you guys have said that you would take Omar Marmoush for about £50 million. Right, another question though that we're going to put to you guys, which was basically came from Tanya's idea, and Tanya said that she's not confident that Mohamed Salah is going to extend. So I thought, let's see how the rest of the chat feel about that. So, do you think Salah extends? So, simple question. Do you think Salah extends his contract with Liverpool? Yes or no? And we'll leave that running in the background. Carl said, got man flu, can hardly move, but watching from my sick bed. I feel you, bro. It's horrible, man flu, horrible. And I turn into a big child when I have man flu, definitely do. Pretty cool idea about the Red Mist Podcast. I really enjoyed that video earlier. Thank you, Luke. Yeah, it was because there was so many kind comments in there, mate, that myself and Lee were kind of just thinking, is there something to this? Because it's an idea we've played around with before, but never really got stuck into. But then today we just thought, video's been well received. We get on well. We both like to have our say. So let's do it and see where we end up. I can think of a couple of football YouTubers who are going to be on edge, knowing that me and Lee Gunner are doing videos together twice a week, which tough, basically. Stephen Rosca said, I'm confident he will extend. Where else would he actually go? That's an appealing project. He won't want to go to Saudi yet. I agree with the second part of what you had to say, Stephen. I just don't have the optimism on the first part, but I want you to be right. I want Salah to extend. I don't want any of the three lads to leave Liverpool Football Club whose contracts are up in the summer. It just feels very much like it's the least likely of the three. But doesn't say it's not going to happen. Just, you kind of get that feeling that it's going to be the one Liverpool take the longest on to try and get sorted. Does Carragher go or stay next summer due to Georgie Mamardashvili coming in, said MLQ92. I've been trying to figure out that very thing, my friend, and even speaking with David about it. It's hard to know what way the goalkeeping department's going to go next season, isn't it? An educated guess, I'm going to go like this. I think Queeving Carragher leaves us in the summer and becomes the number one somewhere. Then I think Mamardashvili and Allison share the role for a season, whether that's one of them in the league, one of them in the Champions League or the Cups. And then I think we lose Alisson Becker after the end of next season. And then we've got Mamardashvili as a number one, maybe with either Miroslav Jaros as the number two or somebody else brought in. That's how I guess that this is going to play out. And it is just a guess because, you know, it is a kind of unknown at the moment what's going to happen in the goalkeeping department. But what I would say to reassure people is we have a very, very good collection of options there for the manager and the club to choose from. A good group of goalkeepers, all of them top-notch in their own right. You know, Mamardashvili, obviously, huge talent moving forward. Carragher, an absolutely top-notch deputy and goalkeeper for us. Jaros, again, pretty early in his career, but he's looking like he's got huge talent. And, of course, Alisson Becker is the best goalkeeper in the world. So Jaros deal ends in 2025. See, LFC, we talked about that, and I was like you, I said this to David, what's going to happen with Jaros? Because his contract is up on Transfermarkt and others, it does say 2025. But David seemed to think that he had signed an extension and that his contract actually goes a little bit further than that. So once I get clarity on that, mate, I will of course let you know. But either way, I would imagine you're going to have to look at the Jaros situation. If it is next summer, then you'll look to renew him or not. If it's a year after that or he's extended longer, I guess we'll find out about that soon enough as well. How much do you think we'll demand for Carragher? I don't know what his contractual situation is, so off the top of my head, and I'm open to being corrected here, I think he has one more year after this year, I think, which would play into evaluation. So my guess would be Liverpool will look for somewhere 25-30 million pound, and if that is the case, somebody should be biting their hand off. I don't believe nobody put in offers from this summer because he's too good to be a number two and he's too good not to have offers. So, yeah, Premier League chairman better make up their damn mind and realise that they're going to waste a lot of money looking for somebody who is as good as Carragher. Darren, talking of boxing, what do you think about, well, I'm going to leave out those two words you put in front of Ben Whittaker's name. What do I think of Ben Whittaker? Look, I always enjoy a showman in boxing, I do, but do I think he looked for a way out in his last fight? Yes, I do. So Ben Whittaker, in my opinion, has to have that fight again and get the win. But look, the sport needs characters. The sport needs entertainers. So, you know, you're putting a big X on your chest when you do it, because if you continue to get wins and you continue to back up that arrogance and flamboyancy and confidence, brilliant. But if it doesn't work out for you or something goes wrong, you know, it's a big fall there as well. So, yeah, needs that rematch though. Needs to get past this little blotch that he had with the draw in there, or the majority draw, I think it was, in the last one. It's the best setup club in the world for mix of young and old. Madrid and City are the only rivals. And win or lose, Slot is much more smart-minded manager. Actually, on that, let's all have a little laugh at Manchester United and their delusional fans for a second. Now, I'm sure this will end up being clipped up, so let me caveat this by saying I've got a great relationship with a lot of Manchester United fans who've been very good to me over the years, but you wouldn't respect me if I didn't banter what I'm about to put out there. So, a Twitter account by the name of @UnitedFaithfuls, @UTDFaithfuls, or UF for short, put out a tweet over the summer that is, quite frankly, hysterical. Let me read out this to you in its entirety, and then we can talk about it for a second. So, 69% of Manchester United fans believe that we will finish higher than Liverpool in the league this season, and I absolutely agree, said the account. Zubamendi rejected them, and no Klopp to get them to grind out results when they aren't performing well. You may want to look at how Arna's getting on, because I'll tell you, as a Liverpool fan, we haven't been playing brilliantly, but he's able to get 11 wins out of 12. So again, so far, this is not looking too great for all United faithfuls. Then it goes on to say, meanwhile, remember, this is from a United perspective, we've made 4, all capitals, key signings so far, and in our third season with Eric Ten Hag, while showing promising signs on the pitch. Huh? Promising signs on the pitch? Are you looking at a different pitch to the rest of us? Anyway, we'll continue. Sign Ugarte and maybe one more midfielder, and we will, again all capitals, do better than Liverpool this season, as long as we can keep our key players fit for the majority of the season. That hasn't aged well, and we're only 10 or 11 games into the new season, and already there's a 10-point gap. Ten Hag's a fraud. He's treading water until he's going to be sacked. And if you genuinely held this opinion, you and Gary Neville belong on a special little island together. Delusional Boulevard should be the main street that goes all the way through it. Because anybody that thinks Manchester United is a better team at the moment than Liverpool, even with a managerial change, is a different level of delusional. That is embarrassing. To even write that and emphasise all the words with capital letters. 69% of United fans believe they'll finish higher than Liverpool. How's that working out for you, lads? Let us know at the end of the season. We'll revisit again just to see quite how mad this is. Over to you. Alex said, Man United fans and Gary Neville are a joke. Well, Gary Neville's going to be doing some more stuff over in America with NBC, so American fans, enjoy Gary Neville. Hopefully we finally get rid of him, because I'm just getting sick of listening to his bitter takes on all things Liverpool. It's embarrassingly bad at this point. So bad that, in fact, Liverpool fans were pleading with Sky to just not put him on any more of our games, because he's you can't listen to him. It's just poor. Lynn said, rumour has it that Eric Ten Hag has 5 more games left to determine whether he stays or leave. Look, I'm going to tell you something that is, in my opinion, a fact. He's getting sacked. It's only a matter of when. And I don't mean he's getting sacked in 2 or 3 years' time. I mean he will not see out this season. And the only reason he's still in a job is because of 2 things. 1, United couldn't find another gullible idiot to take the job on. And 2, they don't want to pay the money to sack him, because it's going to cost them about 14 million quid. This whole extension that they gave him in the summer, again, was false bravado and bullshit. Xavi Hernandez, of course, has been linked with that job. Thomas Tuchel turned it down and took the England job. So, look, leave them to it, because it is absolutely priceless seeing the delusion every single summer about the fact that they've brought in a load of other shit cunts and then think that they're going to go and win leagues with it. It is embarrassing at this point. Like, I know we used to get mocked for it's our year and ha 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 ha, but you know, this level of, oh, we're back, 4 key signings. Ten Hag spent 200 and something million quid in the summer to go backwards, and Arne Slot came in, actually spent about 13 million net, something like that, and we are 11 wins from 12, conceded 3 goals in the league or something, and just romping along nice and tickety-boo. And I love that Ten Hag continues to be delusional about his results this season. Apparently, his words, not mine, we all have to disregard the Spurs game. That doesn't count in his mind. Don't know why, but apparently Ten Hag, that doesn't count. We also have to disregard that they're on the worst run in Europe in 42 years or something like that. Then there's the little matter of us beating them 3-0 at Anfield, which never seems to come up in conversation anymore on any of the channels when they're talking about Liverpool not being tested or anything. Keep forgetting that we went to Old Trafford and whooped them 3-0 there. It is, honestly, it's getting to that point now where I feel bad bantering my United supporting mates, because it feels like I'm kicking a puppy, and nobody wants to kick a puppy. So I should probably lay off, but the fuck if I'm going to. I think Ten Hag isn't an out-and-out bad manager, but I think his man management contributes majorly to United's poor performances under him. I think he is arrogance personified, and I think his arrogance is not at all deserved. So again, he was talking about, me and Jose have won a lot of trophies. He's even trying to put himself in the category with Mourinho. Look, Mourinho's box office, and Mourinho has dropped off a bit, but Mourinho's achieved more in the game than Ten Hag will. A lot more. He is just the gift that keeps on giving to us Liverpool fans. And to give United fans their credit, a lot of them have given him so much time and support and backing, and they have. They have. You know, I know there's been some booing at Old Trafford, but they've also been behind that team and manager and given him the benefit of the doubt on numerous occasions. But they got to see what the rest of us are seeing, that he is just not that guy. Meta official said, Neville's hate is rooted in the past. I've stopped trolling my United friends because it isn't fun, like when they trolled me back in the day. Yeah, I know, it isn't fun, you're right. It's too easy, isn't it? You know, you don't even have to try anymore. This manager has overseen a 7-0, a 3-0, I think a 5-0, whoopings by Spurs, whoopings by City, the worst run in Europe, their worst start to the Premier League since the Premier League began, and still somehow this clown is making excuses. Cool. Anyway, we've spoken enough about them. What's this one? So how about some stats between Declan Rice and Ryan Gravenberch? This season, they've got some interesting statistics between both of them. So let's go through them both. Starting with Declan Rice. So, Arsenal midfielder, played 7 games so far in the Prem this season. He nudges it on long passes completed. He averages 2.1 long passes completed per game. Gravenberch 1.6. Again, Declan Rice shades it in the long pass accuracy with 72.2% to 57.1, but that's it. That's where the good news finishes for Declan Rice in his little comparison with Ryan Gravenberch. So forward passes, he's completed 10.5 to 17.2 for the star boy Ryan Gravenberch. Tackles made 1.1 per game there against 2.1 for Ryan Gravenberch. Interestingly, and I said this the other day, Darwin Núñez has completed more tackles in the Premier League this season than Declan Rice, and he's our centre forward who hasn't played every game. Then we go on to aerial duel success, only 50% for Declan Rice against 81.8% for Ryan Gravenberch. Duels won on the pitch, 3.6 for Declan Rice versus 5.7 for Ryan Gravenberch. Ground duel success percentage, 47.3 for Declan Rice, 60% for Gravenberch. Interceptions per game, 0.8 for Declan Rice versus double that, 1.6 for Gravenberch. Ball recoveries, 5.9 for Declan Rice versus 6.1 for Ryan Gravenberch. So I think it's fair to say Ryan's had a very good start to the season. And look, I'm not somebody who's going to say Rice is shit or anything like that. He absolutely isn't. He's a really good player. I don't think he's having his best season so far for Arsenal. But I'm more pointing these out to show the progress from Ryan Gravenberch rather than to slag off Declan Rice. Gravenberch has just been phenomenal for us this season so far. And looks like he's been at the club for 10 years. He just looks so settled in, so understanding of what Arne Slot wants from him. So as I said, I'm not slagging off Rice here because I do think Declan Rice is a good midfielder, but I'm just using it to show quite how good our boy Ryan Gravenberch has been. So, I need you to hit that like button for me, friends. We've got 45 minutes left on tonight's stream. We're at 433 likes. Do keep those likes coming up if you get a chance. Nick said, win, lose or draw against Arsenal. You're going to have to wait, Nick, for the preview that's coming out tomorrow morning, mate. I don't want to give away my my score prediction or anything just yet. And on the preview, we made a little tweak to it this week. Connor thinks that I should leave my score prediction until the end of the preview. So that's what we've done this week. I started off with an injury update. Then, of course, my predicted 11. And I finished up with a score prediction. So, on the poll about Mohamed Salah, we asked you guys, do you think that Salah extends? And so far, where we've had 550 votes, 64% say yes, they think Mohamed Salah extends. 36% say no. And again, we'll leave that up running for a little bit longer. What's the Marmoush news? No problem, Charlie. Let me go back over that for you, mate. It's exciting news, by the way. So, Florian Plettenberg has been quoted as saying a couple of things. Again, credit to Anfield Sector, who we seen this post from. So it said, Liverpool is a serious option for Omar Marmoush. The interest is real, and there has been contact between the players' camp and Liverpool. Frankfurt would demand 50 to 60 million euro. Goes on to say Marmoush dreams of a move to the Premier League and would agree to join Liverpool immediately. Now, I don't think that means immediately as in expect it in January. I mean, if the offer was put to him, I think Florian Plettenberg means he'd take the offer. He'd come to Liverpool. I would fully believe that he's going to stay at Frankfurt for this season. But yeah, really promising stuff that. There was an interesting piece last week as well, speaking about the evolution of Omar Marmoush and how much of a star he's becoming as well in his homeland in Egypt. So, look, we have somebody at the club in Mohamed Salah who I'm sure would be able to give a glowing reference to the club on Omar Marmoush, an international teammate of his. So, yeah, exciting stuff. Marmoush will either join Liverpool or bottom of the table clubs like Palace or Wolves. I think it could be a clever signing for us. I'd obviously have to look into stylistic things a little bit more, but it is a long link at this point. It's been around for probably 12 months now that I can think of. Speaking with David Lynch about this in the past, David has said that yes, Liverpool will be keeping tabs on him, but he's not a name that he's heard mentioned as something that's going to happen immediately. But these situations can often be fluid, and Liverpool can be keeping tabs on multiple players in case X happens or Y happens, or Darwin leaves, Salah leaves, something like that. Do you think we park the bus or go all out for a win against Arsenal? If anyone's parking the bus, I would say it's going to be Arsenal because of the injuries and stuff that they have. I don't think it's in our nature to park the bus. We can go narrow if we need to, but no, I think we go there and try to win the game. Much like we do against every top team, to be fair. And, you've seen even Manchester City players talk about that. I think it was Bernardo Silva said when they play Liverpool, he knows Liverpool try to win. Against Arsenal at times, he thinks Arsenal have sat back to try and take a point. But you would imagine that the impetus will be on the home side here. They're going to have their home fans behind them. look, it's an exciting game. It is. It's an exciting game, and it's going to be a very interesting game. 60 mil for a purple patch player. Is he a purple patch player? I don't know. I think he's showing what he can do here over a couple of seasons. And it's 60 million euro, which will be about, 51, 52 million pound. And I think, personally, the numbers are about right in that, to be honest with you. But, of course, I respect your opinion if you don't think he's good enough. You know, that's what this show is all about. Lee Gunner predicted 3-1 for us. Yes, he did. I was there, Dave. Yeah, he did. And I was surprised, to be honest with you, when he predicted 3-1 to us. But I'd be very happy if that was the case. Right, what else have we got in the chat? Saka 100% plays, said David Newell. I've got this feeling, so does Odegaard. I don't think Odegaard plays. Even the Norwegian international manager was saying he thinks Odegaard might be back for the November international break. But if you're asking me for my look at it, I think, Saka might play. Timber may play. I think Calafiori will be out. Obviously, Saliba's definitely out. And I think Odegaard will be out as well. And it just remains to be seen then quite how fit maybe Timber and Saka are. Carl Morgan said he could be our new deep lying forward just like Bobby. Absolutely. When I think about Marmoush, I kind of think about him as more a 9.5, if you get me. Somewhere between a 10 and a 9. And if you look at the style of forward we've brought into the club over the years, versatility and an ability to play in various roles is a big part of that as well. So, look, I just like the link. That's basically all I'm saying. Ostier said, "Hi Craig, why are we always the favourite for being runner-up and not champions by everyone? Although we win most of the games, but still Man City are the favourites for being champions." Look, you got to be honest about this stuff as well. When you've won the league 4 years in a row, and look, we can talk about how they've got to the position that they are overall, but when you've won the league 4 years in a row, and you're there or thereabouts at the start of the season, and they haven't got De Bruyne, and they haven't got Rodri, you know, and they're still up there, and they're grinding out wins like they did in the last game with the late winner, I can understand how people have them favourites, to be fair. What I can't understand is the conversations around Manchester City's next manager, the conversations around signings, the conversations around the future of the club, without the huge caveat of those charges hanging over them. It's getting tiring hearing about the likes of Alonso maybe becoming the next coach, or a new signing coming their way. As I've said many times, I don't know how anybody, as an agent, a friend, a family member, could, in good conscience, say to a manager or a player, go to Man City. Because, let's be honest, if they are found guilty, and I don't know what way that's going to go, but if they are, it's going to be a monumental punishment, because it's not going to be one charge, because a lot of these charges are interlinked. So if even 10 of them charges or 15 of them charges stick, well, the Premier League have already kind of given us some context about the points deductions for Everton and whatnot. So you are looking at a big punishment, and that could be point deductions over a few years, title stripped away, eviction from the Premier League, ban from Europe from the Premier League or the FA. So it is mad to me that they're even being linked with managers and players, because I think it's time that we start speaking about the elephant in the room. And it's pissing me off, because a lot of people who profess to love the game, a lot of people who have given their lives to the game, in my opinion, are being too forgiving of what this is potentially for Manchester City. Arsene Wenger starting to kind of tip his hat a little bit in it as well, and showing some sympathy towards Manchester City a bit. I am very much the exact opposite. I've said this consistently all the way through, and I'm telling City fans, this isn't just because you won stuff. It isn't. Because if Arsenal win the Prem, even for the next 3 years, I'm telling you, you won't see the bitterness from me. I'll be on congratulating them. Or if Chelsea won it, or anybody won it. Because at least I can take it. At least I can look at the situation and go, sportingly, we lost. We were the second best team or whatever. And that's what sport's all about. But I have no time for cheating. None. In any sport, in any way, shape or form. And this, if proven, well, it's tantamount to fraud, basically. And it is the biggest sporting scandal of our lifetime. And it will put the Premier League into a really, really tricky, messy position. And they've done no good, Man City, other than try to fucking rip apart the league and destroy it as it is, and the rules that they don't like. And this bullshit of tyranny of the majority is the most nonsensical rubbish I've ever heard. Just because they can continue to throw money at a subject, the world needs to finally show that money won't just buy your way out of everything. We need to stand up. It needs to be called out. It needs to be said for what it is, which is absolute fucking cheating of the highest order if proven. And as every week goes by, I'm getting angrier, because we're talking about 6 years of an investigation here. 6 goddamn years. And remember, that deadline is going to be coming up soon as well. So there's a 6-year statute of limitations for any club to register the potential to sue Manchester City. So clubs have to register, because the hearing results won't be out before this day passes. So Premier League clubs are going to have to make a decision whether they're going to register their interest in suing Manchester City for breaches of contract if they're found guilty. So there's going to be a lot of stuff coming up over the next month or two, and I think it's going to impact City on the pitch this season, and I certainly think it's going to impact the Premier League in general. Eddie Cox-Wilkins said, but the thing is, Craig, we all know City will get away with the charges. So again, I would say, Eddie, if they get away with them, it's going to be interesting to see how football reacts to that, both from a fan perspective and, of course, from the perspective of other clubs. Because if they get away with it, the gloves are off. What's the point? Like, you can't just look at it and think Manchester City have so much money and power that we have to let them do what they want. If they get away with it, it's a slap in the face to the other 19 clubs. It's a slap in the face to football fans all around the world. Because I don't know about you, Eddie, but nothing is going to convince me they're innocent. Nothing. And I mean nothing. Because I've seen enough evidence to the contrary. So, if they get away with it, let's be honest. And again, you know, I tried to give you my honest take on here. I think most of us are going to feel they got away with it because of geopolitical interference, leaning on people in the right positions, and not because of the evidence. You know, I'm saying it as it is. That's, I'm sure, how a lot of you feel. If I was to say to you right now, if City are found innocent, do you think it's because they're innocent, or do you think it's because of other reasons? I would be quietly confident that most of you would say it's because of other reasons and not because they are just truly innocent. I feel as if Trent has become immensely better at defending whilst his attacking has somewhat become poorer. I agree. I'm not worried about the attacking stuff, by the way. You know, that will come. But definitely I've noticed an improvement in, particularly his one-on-one defending. Yeah, he's had some good games this season against the likes of Rafael Leao and obviously against Chelsea as well. He had a good game on that right side. Excuse me. So people are saying poll, right? Let's ask that then. So 66% of you guys and girls think that Salah stays. So I'm going to ask you this poll around Man City. 1 second. So if Man City are found innocent. Oh, I didn't even start writing that. There you go. If Man City are found innocent, why is it? Why is it? So the answers are going to be because they're innocent, because they did nothing wrong, other reasons. Right, so question is, if Manchester City are found innocent, why is it? Is it because they did nothing wrong or other reasons? And we'll put that poll up and we'll see what the reaction is and if my intuition is right. Sam Lewis said, Craig, really hope we get Zubimendi in January. Same. I'm not holding my hopes, I'm not holding my breath, I should say, or keep my hopes up, because for that to happen, it's going to have to see a change of heart from him. And I've seen no indication that that is the case yet. So, all I can say on it is Liverpool would go back in no problem if he showed that he did want to come. It's political and economics between UAE and Britain. They'll walk, said Morton. That's kind of how I feel, Morton. When you see things like Abu Dhabi invest 10 billion in green projects in the United Kingdom, you're thinking, because there is a lot of power there, and there is a lot of soft power, as they'd call it. And without getting into this too much, it's like when the Russian money left London, and when those sanctions came in, that money had to be replaced, and that money was replaced with money from a different part of the world. And that's what makes me really angry, because we are seeing these muddying of the waters between sport, politics, and we don't like it as football fans. These are football clubs. These aren't political institutions. They are football clubs, and they should be thought of, ran, and kept entirely as that, not as rich person's playthings or a vehicle to undermine the credibility and stability of the Premier League. BBC saying Chiesa could go out on loan. Yeah, we rubbished that one yesterday. So there was a piece that suggested, I think it came from Calcio Mercato, an Italian outlet, that said Liverpool are potentially going to loan Chiesa to Serie A in January. Not going to happen. Mainly because it doesn't make any sense. One of the reasons why he's struggling to get up to fitness is because of the rigours and the strain and the intensity of the Premier League. So sending him to a league at a lower intensity is not going to help him to get up to the fitness for the rhythm he's going to need for the Premier League. So even speaking with David Lynch about that one, it just doesn't make any sense. So it's not going to happen. Liverpool want to get him right, and keeping him at Liverpool and building up his fitness and minutes is the right way to do that. We as fans are just going to have to be patient here. And I know sometimes that's not easy for us as football fans, but with Chiesa, we're going to have to remember, as the manager said as well, he signed a long-term deal at the club. So if it takes 6 months to get him up to where he needs to be, let's hope we can get him there, and we look back on this in a year or two's time and think, well, we did the right thing. Right, this one says, how do I pronounce this name? Thera Huljanes said, Craig, if Salah leaves, do you think we need to sign somebody, or is Chiesa enough? Oh no, 100% we need to sign somebody. 100%. If Salah leaves, we need to go out and bring somebody in. If Darwin leaves, we need to go and bring somebody in. If Salah extends, then I'm okay. I'm okay with us not bringing another attacking option. But we do have to realistically have a conversation about Jota as well, and the fact that he doesn't seem to be able to have long runs of games without an unfortunate incident happening to him or picking up a knock or an injury. So we do need to have as much consistency as we can in the squad. We have that with Mohamed Salah on the right, and I guess we have that as well on the left between Lucho and Gakpo. So I would think if Mo leaves, we definitely need to add somebody. I heard on TalkSport Chiesa might go out on loan to build up his fitness. Thoughts? I've just spoken about it a second ago, mate. It's bullshit. Nothing else to add to it. I wouldn't be going to TalkSport for any football news. I wouldn't be going there for anything, quite frankly. But if you are of the mindset to listen to them, I wouldn't be putting too much faith in. For instance, Gabi Agbonlahor, the only pundit in the world who believes that Salah's already agreed a deal to go to Saudi. Nobody else seems to have that information. So yeah, for me, look, I wouldn't be getting my my football news from TalkSport. No, not for me. Don't like it. Don't like anything about it. Don't like the way that they play and pander to the audience. Don't like the way that they rile people up. It's baiting. I think the whole platform is just one big bait after another, and I don't like it. There's a reason why I've never gone on there, by the way. And it's not because we haven't been asked. It's just because I don't want that to do with it. Would I take Grimaldo at left back? No, I think he's about 27 or 28, if I'm not mistaken, Alex Grimaldo. And, you know, he bounced around a bit until he found a manager and a system at Leverkusen that worked for him. And obviously, he's done very well there. Ahmed said, overall thoughts on Marmoush. Mate, I'd be fully behind us signing him. Yeah, I would. I think I love the willingness to want to come to play in the Premier League. You know, we get some great insights from Salah as well. If the recruitment team or the manager wanted, you know, some info or some references on Omar Marmoush, I'm sure we get great thoughts from Mohamed Salah about that. And as a brand as well, and you know, we got to talk about that and think about that these days. Marmoush is adored over in Egypt as well, so you know, we're going to keep that that Egyptian fan base that we've built up over the years happy and, you know, enjoying seeing maybe another compatriot play in the Premier League with Liverpool. So yeah, I'd be for it, but you know, I can't speak to how likely it is or not, but I wouldn't be against it. Dave said Varela would be my choice other than Zubimendi. I can totally understand the Alan Varela links, and I wouldn't have any problems either, mate. You know, we had that crazy end to the transfer window where we wondered where Liverpool officials in Porto trying to sign Varela. But I very much understand why you like him, and again, I wouldn't have any issues if Liverpool were to look at signing Varela. Now remember, we are saying Varela here, Alan Varela from Porto, not Nicolo Barella from Inter. Thoughts on Gakpo left, Diaz right, Mo 9 and Maka 10. So the Maka 10 part we'll push aside for a minute if that's alright. Gakpo left, Diaz right, Mo centre. I'd have no problem with that whatsoever. It was interesting to see Arne bring Lucho on the right hand side the other day. He initially came on the right, but then he switched back over to the left and Gakpo went through the middle. Yeah, look, we've not seen a willingness to put Mo through the middle, but I wouldn't be against it because, you know, put him where he can do the most damage, put him in front of goal. So yeah, look, those three lads can play right across the front line in any position, and I wouldn't be against them playing in any position. Look, we all have our areas where we think they're at their best or where we think that they are their strongest, but yeah, the versatility of our forwards is a huge part of why they're such a good group. I feel like Liverpool need a lethal and clinical finisher like Isak. But let's be honest about this, right? I like Isak as well, but you'd have to have concerns around his injuries. Arsenal have been linked with Isak in the last 24 hours again. You know, they were looking at him before he went to Newcastle. I don't know if there's ongoing talks with Isak. I think Newcastle aren't in a rush because I think he has 3 years left on his deal, if I'm not mistaken. But look, again, a very good footballer. I think I'd prefer ENQUIRIES at this point if we were trying to look for somebody through the centre, or Marmoush. But yeah, it's just the injury concern for me with Isak. Adam Brown, thank you, mate, for your super chat, Adam. Appreciate you. We've got about 25 minutes left on tonight's stream, and remember, this is my last live until the game on Sunday. I'm just going to put out a couple of videos tomorrow, pre-recorded ones, and I'm going to take the day off and rest up. So, Adam Brown said, "Hi Craig, hope you're keeping well." I'm doing good, thank you, my friend. If you were to sign a player and a team from the bottom half of the table, who would you choose? Let me just get the league table out real quick so I can get a look at the table and give you an answer. I can safely say it won't be any of the United players. So let's have a look at the bottom half of the Premier League. 1 second. Where's the Premier League table? Okay, Premier League. Nope, that's the Irish Premier League. Right, so bottom half. Bournemouth, United, Blackpool, Leicester, Ipswich, Crystal Palace, Southampton, Wolves. Slim pickings there. Mbuemo, maybe. Bowen. No, Kudus. Mo Kudus. Yeah, the answer is Kudus. Yeah, there's the answer. Mohamed Kudus is the answer. Wouldn't say no to Bowen. Mainly it was a decent show. I've seen that in the chat from people, but I would say I'd go for Mohamed Kudus. Felix Wong said, Craig, have you talked about Trent's injury yet? Yes, we did, mate. We spoke about it at the start of the stream that it's been managed, and thankfully it looks like an injury that he can play through. And I'm wondering how it'll impact the November international break for Trent, if they look at that as a time that maybe he can withdraw from the England camp to recover. But we did speak about it. LV said Branthwaite. Branthwaite's a good shout as well, but I think I'm happy with going for Kudus, but good shout on Branthwaite as well. Right, let's check in on this poll. We said, if Manchester City are found innocent, why is it? And the options are because they did nothing wrong, or other reasons. So we're going to leave that running until the end of the stream. If you haven't voted on it yet, please do, because I'd love to know your thoughts. What will be a 10 out of 10 transfer window, Craigo, and should we put an assist thing on a player? I don't know what you mean by an assist thing. You mean in the watchalongs for a little icon beside them or something? Yeah, can do. Let me talk to Connor about that, if that is what you meant. A 10 out of 10 window for me would be bringing in a centre-back, a midfielder, selling Costas, and bringing in a left-back to become the Andy Robertson successor. Then, of course, you're looking at what happens if players move on. But if we assume for 1 second that everybody signs on and stays at the club, then I think we need a midfielder, a centre-back, and a left-back. That'll be a 10 out of 10 window. Justice Void said, Craig, if we were to sign Marmoush, what about losing both him and Salah for the AFCON? It would impact our season negatively. Yeah, it's a good point you've raised. It just is what it is, I guess. Do you get to that point then where you just don't sign any players from Africa because of the AFCON? I just wish they'd sort the AFCON out, by the way, because we all rejoiced when it was put back to a summer tournament. Then I think because of, if I'm not mistaken, because of weather in Cameroon or something, or the wet season, it was moved back to a winter tournament. It just feels like the African Cup of Nations is very fluid in when it's played and how often it's played. We've seen tournaments played closer together because other tournaments haven't been able to be played. We've seen it move summer, winter. Just get clarity on it so everybody knows. That's what I meant. Cool. Yeah, I think we could certainly do something with that, mate. Leave that with me and I'll say it to Connor. Who do you think has been the poorest player for Liverpool so far? Robbo. If I'm looking at the starting 11, and I think if we characterise what we would consider the starting 11, it's probably the goalkeeper, and then Robbo, Trent, Kanade, Van Dijk, McAllister, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, Salah, Diaz, Darwin, or Jota. But either way, in this conversation, I would say Robbo, and I don't say that with any pleasure at all. I miss the old Andy Robertson. So yeah, I think I'm concerned about Robbo's fitness. I'm concerned about Robbo's output. I'm concerned that maybe Father Time is catching up with him. So yeah, I would say Andy Robertson. And again, I can't reiterate this enough. I take no pleasure in saying that because we all love Andy Robertson. My pleasure, Anne. Always happy to try and answer. What about yourself, Anne? Who would you say would be our poorest player so far? Who would you sign to compete with Robbo? Off the top of my head, Ait-Nouri. You know, I do like him. I like the way he plays. So yeah, off the top of my head, Ait-Nouri. George said, how many years has Robbo got left? On his contract, I'm truly not sure, mate. A quick check of Transfermarkt to probably give us that answer. If you mean how many years left at the top, I think it could come down to how many injuries he starts to pick up. You know, because let's remember, in Andy Robertson's position and the way that we play it, it's a very physically demanding position. You're going to have to get up and down that flank the entire game. So, you know, if you're off in any way, if you're not fully fit or you don't have the engine you once did, it'll quickly show up. Did you watch Trent's interview with Sky Sports? I'd seen some of it, Wayne. I'd seen some of it. Always interesting to hear from Trent. What I always get when I listen to him is that he's a very driven, focused, determined man that wants to win as much as he can. Loic Bade looks very Saliba-like. So he's a name, Till Sheen, that has come up in the media a little bit, but I've not been able to get any confirmation of a real interest from David Lynch or any Liverpool people I've spoken to. Limited amount, I should say, but yeah, it seems to be more this one coming from the Spanish media more than anything on the European side, or excuse me, the English side. Dave said, as it stands, I'm glad we kept Costas. So I get where you're coming from, Dave, but let me just, I guess, follow that up by saying, if Costas had have been sold, he would have been replaced. So I get where you're coming from, but I still don't think Costas is going to be good enough longer term to be our week in, week out left back. You nervous about Sunday? Because it's annoying me if we lose. I'm worried about the ref. I'm worried about the ref. I'm always worried about the refs in big head-to-head games. Am I worried about the game? No, I think the start of the season we've had gives us a bit of wiggle room in that regard. Look, we have to be realistic about this. We are going to lose games of football over the course of the season. I would take a point away from home at the Emirates against a title challenger. At home, I want all three, but if you offered me a point now, I think I might take it. But I also want to say that these are the games we should be excited about. You know, it's great to be talking about a top of the table clash. Lynn said, ref is Mr. Yellow Card, so we have to be careful too. Yeah, look, I just don't have much faith in the officials refereeing in the Premier League. You know, I've had too many moments in big games where I felt like they've bottled big decisions. And I don't believe it's always an accident. I can't. I'm not saying that there's anything consciously going on, but as somebody who's been around football for 36 years now, I can't square off those decisions in the big games. The Odegaard handball, the Doku kick to the chest. I just cannot look at them and think rationally that a professional official doesn't think that at least warrants the ref looking at it on the monitor. It's bullshit. Anne, thank you. Said, I love your jumper. Thank you. I'm an Adidas fanboy, Anne. Chances are, if you ever seen me outside or on the street or anything like that, I'm probably going to be wearing Adidas as well. So, thank you, though. CARRA said we need an X Factor. Who do you think can be our X Factor from the market? Do you know, I agree with CARRA on the X Factor thing. I haven't really thought much about who that could be in the market, though. Because if you look at Zubamendi, you wouldn't be saying he's an X Factor, but as somebody else in the chat said, maybe that would free Maka up to go a little bit further upfield. I still feel like I want that X Factor to be found from within, because Szoboszlai, Elliott and Jones, I think are all, particularly Elliott, if he can get his fitness back, I think he's capable of being that X Factor, being that player that finds a pocket of space and can unlock a defence. And Dom certainly can be. And I want Dom to come on to be. I want Dom to be Air De Bruyne. What's my thoughts on Varela? Like him. Yeah, like him. Could understand entirely when we were linked with him. Never against an Argentinian in the squad either. So yeah, look, if the links are there again with Alan Varela in the summer, I can understand them, but I don't expect us to go in for Varela as things sit. But again, like the player. Has Bajcetic a future at Liverpool? I would say so, yeah. This season was about him going out and getting fitness and getting game time. I think Bajcetic has more of a future at Liverpool than Pep Linders will have at Red Bull Salzburg by the looks of things, because it's not gone great over there for him. And even look, Bobby Clark was benched for the last game, and I think so was Stefan. But yeah, I think he has a future at Liverpool, definitely. What do I think about... Is that Wirtz? And look, Florian Wirtz is brilliant, but I just think he's going to either end up at Real Madrid or he's going to end up at Bayern Munich. I don't see us going for Wirtz. I don't see us paying what it's going to take to get Wirtz. Colin said, missed the show, Craig. What was the Marmoush news? No problem, Colin. Let me just reiterate it for you, bro. So it came in from Florian Plettenberg, and again, credit to Anfield Sector, who we seen this post from. Said, breaking, Liverpool is a serious option for Omar Marmoush. The interest is real, and there has been contact between the players' camp and Liverpool. Frankfurt would demand 50 to 60 million euro. Another then post said, Marmoush dreams of a move to the Premier League and would agree to join Liverpool immediately. Nice. David said Badger Tits wasn't even on the bench in the last game. So I need to explain the Badger Tits joke. So one of my favourite comments of all time was somebody tried to write Stefan Bajcetic and autocorrect did them dirty and they wrote Badger Tits. So it's kind of stuck as a nickname in the channel. So don't ever think we're being derogatory or anything towards Stefan Bajcetic if you see that coming up. It's just somebody's autocorrect did them dirty and we found it funny. Do you think Dom and McAllister could swap positions? Dom has the engine to be a bit more defensive and McAllister is magic on the ball. No, I don't. I think McAllister could play in Dom's position if we were to bring in somebody like a Zubamendi to play as part of a double pivot. But I wouldn't be full of confidence about Szoboszlai being a bit deeper. No, I would say no to that part personally. Do I like Michael Owen, no matter what, he was a class player? No argument with the second part of that. Do I like Michael Owen? Not one bit. For many reasons. Yeah, the whole United stuff. And I also just find him drearily boring. Like, monotonously boring to listen to. Even when he's doing the mic'd up stuff with Howard Webb, it's just monotone. Yeah, no, just don't like him. But as you said, wonderful, wonderful footballer back in his day. That goal he scored for England against Argentina was exceptional. What is this? I don't know how to pronounce this one. Is it Roro Naukrix? Said, we need to fortify the fullback positions. Mainly some pace. I don't think Conor Bradley would do well in 1-versus-1 against pacey wingers. I do. I think Conor Bradley is still learning the position. Will get better. But I do think he has a good defensive side to him. On the other side, though, I do agree with you. I think we need to look at somebody for the left back position. Finley said, I must say Leipzig's attackers are quite good, especially Sesko and Openda. Mate, I agree entirely with you on that. Sesko is going to be a huge talent, and whoever gets him when he leaves Leipzig is going to get one hell of a footballer. Luis Openda is somebody who again has been roughly linked with us in the past. of the two of them, I would certainly prefer Sesko if you were, give me the option to have one of them. Rusba said, can't wait to get back to Ireland. Love Dublin. Nice. Glad to hear it, mate. Glad to hear you like our beautiful little country. And yeah, happy days, man. Well in. Alejandro said, I would have Lukeba from Leipzig. So that whole situation's a little bit weird. So there have been links to us and Lukeba, but then there's been a story coming out during the week that said, yeah, Liverpool are linked with him for a future move, but he's going to sign a new contract at Leipzig and that's going to have a bigger release clause. And I just thought, that makes no sense to us. Like, if you're Liverpool and you are seriously looking at Lukeba, if he signs a contract extension to make you pay more money to Leipzig, a la Timo Werner, I just don't see why you do that as a club if you're Liverpool. If he signs the contract, bye-bye. If it means you're going to have to pay more money than you currently would have to pay for him. Caleb said, how disappointed would you be if we did make a big signing in January given how little we've spent in the summer? I'm always a little bit more understanding, Caleb, of business not being done in the winter because it's a difficult market. There's no guarantee, even if you do bring somebody in, that they won't take 3 months maybe to settle in. So nowhere near as angry as I will be next summer, because I don't have faith in our owners to spend the money. But if we if we picked up a bad injury and we didn't address something in January, I might be a little bit different. But right now, I'm open-minded about January, about what happens. Roger Rabbit, thank you, mate. Do you think Conor Bradley played left back, he would start over Robbo? I don't know. I don't even know how to go about considering that. I think he'd be pushing him more than Costas would anyway. Right, so let's wind down the stream tonight. And we said to you guys earlier on, if Manchester City are found innocent, why is it? And 90% of you guys say other reasons, and 10% say because they did nothing wrong. So yeah, there you go. We've got a fairly conclusive answer there. Look, I'm going to go, and as I said, rest up for Sunday. There will be the preview coming out tomorrow, and there'll be a news video as well tomorrow evening, so keep an eye out for them. Just again, the big breaking news from me, myself and Lee Gunner, going to start a podcast together called the Red Mist Podcast. That's going to be coming out probably from November onwards, twice a week. Videos up on YouTube, audio on the podcast platforms. Thank you to everyone that watched the video and left kind comments on it earlier on that myself and Lee recorded yesterday. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, please do. And of course, again, don't forget, you can get your tickets to our live show with a link at the top of the chat, and it is open to all ages. Right, have a good one, enjoy your Saturday, and I'll catch up with you guys on Sunday. Much love, bye bye.